Formula One is one of the most exciting, fast-paced sports in the world. But with that high level of competition comes some serious costs. As we enter 2025, it's clear that Formula One is more expensive than ever before. So, what's driving up the costs, and why is the sport seeing record revenue? In this video, we're going to break down the factors that have made F1 one of the most financially demanding sports on the planet, and whether 2025 is the most expensive year in F1 history. Let's start with one of the most important factors that have dramatically changed F1's financial landscape: Netflix's Drive to Survive. If you haven't seen it, the show takes us behind the scenes of the Formula One season, showcasing the drama, rivalry, and intense competition between teams and drivers. But beyond just the entertainment, Drive to Survive has had a huge impact on Formula One's global profile. Before the show's release in 2019, F1 was largely considered a niche sport, with a dedicated fan base but a limited reach, especially in markets like the United States. However, Drive to Survive completely changed that. With the show's growing popularity, F1's global fan base has skyrocketed. The American audience, in particular, has been one of the biggest beneficiaries, with viewership in the US increasing by over 50% since the show launched. This massive influx of new fans has brought with it a lot of financial benefits. For example, F1's broadcast deals have exploded in value. The US broadcasting deal with ESPN, which spans from 2023 to 2027, is worth around $5 billion. A direct result of the new fan interest generated by the show. On top of that, the sport has seen a surge in sponsorships, with companies like Heineken, Oracle, and Pirelli pouring millions into the sport. Heineken, for example, reportedly pays $50 million annually just to be a part of the F1 ecosystem. That's a huge increase in revenue for the sport compared to just a few years ago. One of the immediate effects of F1's rising popularity is the increasing number of races. As the sport grows, F1 is adding more events to its calendar, expanding beyond traditional racing hubs like Europe and the Middle East. In 2025, there are new venues in cities like Miami, Las Vegas, and Jeddah, with even more rumored to be in the works. But hosting a race in a new city isn't cheap. The cost to build a new race venue or make significant upgrades to existing ones can run anywhere between $50 to $200 million per event, depending on the scale of the venue and the infrastructure needed. For example, the Miami Grand Prix, which made its debut in 2022, had an estimated $50 million price tag to set up. And that's not including the costs of the race itself. Staffing, security, race fees, and promotions all add up quickly. But it's not just the construction costs. Hosting a Formula One race comes with massive operational costs. The logistics alone, including transporting cars, equipment, personnel, and managing the entire event, can cost an additional $30 to $50 million per race. These costs are now absorbed by race organizers, with F1 taking a portion of the revenue generated from race ticket sales, hospitality packages, and local sponsorship deals. Speaking of race fees, those are also climbing higher. In the past, some races only brought in a few $1,000,000 in fees. But now, major events like Monaco, Saudi Arabia, and Las Vegas command $50 to $70 million in race fees per year, making it a highly lucrative business for the sport. So, while costs are rising, the increase in race events is helping F1 rake in revenue at an unprecedented level. Technological arms race and car development costs. Oh, you thought races were expensive? Think again. The real money pit is car development. F1 teams don't just tweak their cars like a simple tune-up. They rebuild them every season. The 2022 regulations forced teams to practically redesign their cars, and we're talking $200 to $300 million annually just to stay competitive. And that's not just for the bodywork. It's for cutting-edge tech, wind tunnels, and enough wizardry to make sure their car is faster than yours. Remember the 2022 regs? Those little changes cost teams anywhere from $50 to $100 million just to keep up. But if you want to beat Red Bull, Ferrari, or Mercedes, slapping on a couple of stickers won't cut it. F1 is about tiny nanosecond differences. One tiny tweak, and suddenly you're either celebrating or sobbing in the garage. And if you think that's wild, brace yourself for 2026 regulations. You think teams are spending big now? The new power units will have them dropping millions to stay competitive. It's like watching your neighbor build a pool, except instead of a pool, it's a car that costs more than a small country's GDP. F1's revenue explosion and profit margins. Now, let's talk money. Despite all the insane costs, F1 is raking it in. The sport pulls in over $2 billion annually. A big chunk of that? Race fees and broadcasting deals. For example, races like Monaco, Saudi Arabia, and Las Vegas each rake in $100 million in revenue. I'd be happy with just a fraction of that in my bank account. But wait, it's not just ticket sales. It's the broadcasting rights, sponsorships, and corporate deals that bring in the big bucks. Companies like Pirelli, Oracle, and Heineken are throwing millions at F1. Because who wouldn't want their logo on a Ferrari's nose cone? That's free advertising that says, look at us, we're cool, fast, and don't care how much we spend. Let's not forget the prize money. The Constructors' Champion could pocket $100 million. That's enough for a small island, or maybe a really fast boat. Winning in F1 is like finding the Holy Grail. Only this one's made of carbon fiber and aerodynamics. The cost of F1's global expansion isn't just expanding its race calendar, it's going global. From Jeddah to Miami, the sport is spreading like wildfire. But hey, going global isn't cheap. Moving cars, teams, and driver catering around the world costs a fortune. If you want a private jet for each team, you're looking at hundreds of millions in logistics. So while they're living the high life, the price tag is insane. Even with those hefty costs, F1 is making huge profits. The sport's expanding popularity means higher revenues from broadcasting, sponsorships, and ticket sales. And the demand for premium races is only growing. Monaco's race fee? That's basically the annual tax revenue of a small country, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. More glam cities, more big fees, it's a party and everyone's invited. So, is 2025 the most expensive year in F1 history? Yeah, probably. With skyrocketing race fees, crazy car development costs, and global expansion, F1 is burning through cash faster than a Ferrari on a straight. And guess what? It's not slowing down anytime soon. Here's the twist though. Despite all these costs, F1 is making more money than ever. The sport is rolling in cash and the revenue keeps growing. F1 may be expensive, but it's big business, and it's not going anywhere. So, if you thought spending was crazy now, just wait for the next few years. It's going to be wild. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. This is probably the first video you watch from me, and if you liked it, please subscribe so I can keep paying my F1 TV subscription. Okay, bye.